for.
Yeah. Oh
Cool.
yeah, because you got it. Cool. Yeah. So for people who can't make it, then we can have it as well. But perfect. Yeah, I'll kick it off. Thanks, Chris, for the introduction, and thanks all for hosting this. I'm very happy to talk about this project, and thanks as well for everyone who joined. Hopefully you'll find this interesting. And yeah, we'll get right into it. I'm sure you read the description as well. Basically, in the next 40 minutes or so, I'll talk through this Project Venti, that I started at least planning for it September of last year. It's not long ago, and we'll go through a bit of starting with a short introduction, going through some logistics, talking about the team, the partners, kind of like how it all came to be. So first of all, a bit of a background. As Chris said, this is me hiking in the Sierras. Some of you might know me from TSX. Some other people might, we're course mates. But this is, so some people might know me like this. Most people know me as a fitness enthusiast and someone who just likes pushing himself. And basically, this is me, 2021, a few years ago. I was doing a Ironman triathlon, and I was pretty light. I was 170 pounds, and I was having a great time. And then after that, I decided to go into something totally different from the endurance kind of sphere, into powerlifting and weightlifting. And I really enjoyed myself, enjoyed that. I enjoyed the whole, the community. And in between, I was reading, and since I was a kid, I was reading through stories of people doing crazy things and running across the world, cycling across the world. And I was always into that kind of stuff, but I never fulfilled those dreams because I thought it was never like a right moment, or I wasn't ready, or it could always be better. And so that was kind of why I always put those dreams aside and didn't really pursue them. And in particular, while I was training for my Ironman triathlon, I came across it's just, I gained weight over those 2 years of just doing weightlifting. So was quite a bit of shift. So I came across James Lawrence. So what he did is very similar to what I'm doing in a way. In sense, I got inspiration from him. He did 50 full Ironman in 50 days in 50 states, and so something called like the 50-50-50. And so at the time, this was in 2020, 2021. I thought this would be cool. I want to replicate this. I want to do it in Italy. So if you don't know what a full Ironman is, you can see it here on the screen as well. 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and a full marathon. So I thought, I want to do this. And I thought, okay, why not 20 Ironmans in 20 days in 20 regions in Italy? And I thought, this is pretty cool. This is doable. And I had a plan for it. I wanted to start April 1st of 2030. And at the time I was 21 as well. So that was ages. That was like 9 years ago. And I wanted to start April 1st because I wanted to finish April 20th, which is my birthday, when I will turn 30. So that is a symbolic thing. However, being quite far away, I thought I want to do something a bit more tangible that I can do. So I thought, why not cut it short and just do 20 marathons? I didn't put that, idea aside. It's still lingering there. I'm still thinking about it, but I thought, why not? Let's start a bit easier and just do 20 marathons. And so that's how Project Venti came to be. I was saying, I've always been inspired by people who do these things. Ross Edgley, a Brit who swam around Great Britain. James Ketchell, who did this ultimate triathlon. He hiked on top of Mount Everest, cycled across the world, and rode across the Atlantic. And then most recently, some of you might know of Russ Cook, aka the hardest geezer. He goes by. He's a Brit who ran across Africa. So that was just a couple of years ago. So as you can see, there's a lot of people who do these things. And what I wanted to do was something not much to set a record, or because I know there's like a lot of people that do even crazier things than what I will hopefully do. But it was something like, for me, it was something to push myself, and I wanted to push myself and challenge myself and not really compare myself to others. Although I kind of see these people and like look forward to look upon these people, and like I admire them. So why did I want to do this Project Venti? First of all, as I already said, I wanted to push my personal limits. I've always wanted to improve myself and how kind of like find the best version of myself in a way. In another way, I've always been outside of Italy, studying or working, traveling, and I've never really appreciated my own country in a way. And I realized that the last couple of years. And so in a symbolic way, I wanted to also reconnect with my home country doing this and like visiting every region. And in the planning, you'll see as well, I included regions and places that I've never been that are a must see in Italy, and places that are amazing. And I travel miles and miles away from Italy, whereas there's amazing places as well, as you might know. And seeking meaning and purpose. What I mean by this is I'm like, over the past year, I had a bit of a rough time finding like some sort of purpose, or like felt a bit lost in what I was doing and kind of what the next steps for in terms of my life, my career were. And so I needed something to look forward to and to be proud of. And that's why also I wanted to do this to in a way distract me from reality, and I have my own little thing to think about and not think about anything else, and in a way that helped me as well to go through those moments. And finally, I didn't really introduce myself or what I am doing right now, but I'm currently studying. I'm doing a master's in wildlife documentary production. Before that, I studied natural sciences and physics and biology. So my background is both in science, but also in media production. And so I wanted to share this whole journey through a documentary and make my first documentary. And around, we're planning it to be around an hour. So talking about the whole journey, obviously the 20 days, the planning, the team, how it came to be. And so that's what also we ultimately I wanted to do out of this, and share it all. So as I said, it all started in September. Well, I actually committed to it in September of last year. And that's when I started telling people that I was going to do it. And that I like everything, telling it, externalizing it is probably the best way to keep yourself accountable. And I was telling people now that, it's out there. There's partners, there's, friends, family, people that I told I was going to do this. And now I'm almost forced. I'm like, there's no going back. I'm doing it, although I'm, obviously nervous and anxious about it sometimes. But it's a good way. I found it, like, as soon as I committed, I wanted to do it, I started telling people, and it held myself, accountable. And so there's no turning back. So that was like just an initial, this is the map. That was when I first started planning it, putting Post-its on in my dorm room. I also wanted to have something to visualize it, and in a way I had fun with it to begin with, when there were 6, 7, 8 months ahead, and I thought, and I'll make a little logo. So this is kind of the evolution. It was first called Venti Venti Venti, which is 20 in Italian, and then you can see, going from left to right, the transition of like the logo. And finally, a friend of mine made the logo at the end, which I quite like. It's very simple. It's definitely not something that you need, but it's something that helped me, and I wanted to have it there as well. Now, obviously something like this, I can't do it alone, and that's where I put together a team that I am really happy with, and I'm I'm proud to be surrounded by these people. And so I'll go through them and give a little background of who they are and why they were here, why they're important. So first of all, I'll go through Alyssa. Some of you might know her as well. Alyssa, she also guides with TSX, and she is just an amazing person overall. She's done amazing stuff herself. She's hiked the PCT. She traversed Greenland, like I think it was like a 40-day expedition, and she will be kind of overlooking all the logistics aspects into it, into the whole Project Venti. So transportation, but also making sure everything is, everyone is where they're needed, and so on. We have then Joris, who's gonna be the photographer of the team. Joris, I met him when I was doing my undergrad in the Netherlands. We were colleagues in the video team. He works a lot with analog pictures, and I thought that would be really good to have, for instance, either, and I'll let it, I'll give him the creative power or anything that he wants to do, but basically having maybe a portrait every day, or certain like really interesting like analog shots, for instance, like using a different medium than just like a digital picture. So he's gonna use analog, and I think that's gonna be really interesting as well to tell that story. Lorenzo, another colleague of mine from the Netherlands. These two, Joris and Lorenzo, they are best friends, and they are kind of inseparable. And I thought they were the first people that came to mind when I was looking for filmmakers and filmmakers and photographers to join me for this, to document it all. And Lorenzo is going to do mainly the video aspect and filming it. So the two are also very funny together. So I think they will definitely bring up the morale when the morale will be down. So I think that's also important. I talked about me enough. I'll be running. That's my job. And Mark is a mate of mine from uni as well, and he'll be kind of like filling in where is needed. He'll also be, he doesn't know this, well, I kind of told him, but he might run with me in a few segments. So in cases where we'll go up, where we can't have a vehicle, or wherever an assistant needed, he'll be running around. And finally, but not least, last but not least, Antonia, my girlfriend, who we met in Salford last year, September, and she's a PT at the gym. Obviously, I was at the gym training. That's how we met, and she'll be sorting the nutrition aspect of the entire team, but obviously for myself as well, making sure I'm getting the right macros, and kind of checking on me, as well as Alyssa will be checking on me in terms of like medical and if everything is fine, because it will be very hot. I'll need to stay hydrated and so on and so forth. So, and it's, everyone here has a role, and I wanted to have people that I really feel good around. I think that will be very important when things get hard, and they will. So this is the entire team. Now, last but not least, actually, there is a little dog that will join us, and this is Sherlock, which I really love, as you can see by the picture, and he'll be joining us as well. So we're a very big team. Now, the team is not only those 5 people, but obviously there is other people behind the scenes that helped from the start, such as Freddie. He couldn't, he was meant to join as well, but he couldn't make it. He had other commitments, but he really helped me kind of lifting it off from the ground. And he was one of the first people I talked to about the project. And Alex, who he's a music composer, he's going to help on the second part of the project with the documentary, making music for the documentary. So I'm really excited about that. And Oscar, he will help with the script writing of the documentary. He's working more on the screenwriting aspect of it. So also working behind the scenes. So obviously there's people who are helping on those 20 days, but there's also people who help, behind the scenes. To give you a bit of perspective, all of these people, this is a map of Europe. We have Alyssa, who will be flying in from the US. Everyone's from different parts of the world, which I find really interesting. Sherlock and Antonia will travel from the UK to Italy by car. And this is, when I found out, I didn't ask Antonia, I was like, we're talking, and she wanted to help, which I was really emotional because I thought it's something I love, and I thought this is amazing, and she's willing to drive all the way from the UK to Italy. Lorenzo and Joris, they will be flying from the Netherlands. They're from the Netherlands, and Mark, he's from Germany. He'll be flying from Germany. So everyone's going to come together in Rome. And that will be on just a couple of days before that, May 9th, May 10th, just a couple days before we start. And you can see the dates here as well. So just as a quick overview here, this is a map of Italy. We'll start from Rome. That's where we'll meet. That's where I'm based, and where kind of like our family home is based. And so we will have a base there a couple of days before the 12th of May to talk about logistics, talk about the entire plan face to face, because obviously there's also a big thing during planning, not being able to see each other face to face and just planning things on the phone or via Zoom, which is not the best, So from Rome, the first region, we'll start with the south, because by that time it'll be already pretty hot in Italy. So we want to get the south done as soon as possible, and we'll probably be running in the morning because it'll be very hot. So Campania, near Naples, that will be the first day, and we'll do the south of Italy first, going down to Sicily, where I thought climbing a volcano, climbing things like almost 10,000 feet was a good idea. Then we got Etna, and that's the picture on the left here. This is Etna, the volcano. Now, the routes are not set in stone. We made all the routes. They can be changed as we go, as we see how I'm feeling, how the team is feeling, but ultimately, there's no blueprint for something like this. There's no rules. We make the rules, so that's also something that to keep in mind. Well, then carry on. There's a mini ferry to take between Calabria and Sicily, which is just a 20-minute ferry, and then we'll head back up towards Calabria, Puglia, and some regions such as Abruzzi on day 6. Now it's 7, because we will use that as a base. That's where my so overall in all these regions, that's one of the issues were obviously logistics, but also accommodation. So I was trying as much as possible to keep either using friends or family, like asking them if they could host us, or we would camp, and you'll see it as well in some slides. But basically that's where my grandma lives, and so we'll use that as a base for a couple days, where I would just do day trips from Abruzzi to the other regions. And so from Abruzzi we go to Molise, and we go back to Abruzzi. So that's like a couple-hour drive, and then a couple-hour drive back, but that would allow us at least to have a proper base where we could get clean, cook, meal prep, all that stuff, and not have to worry about setting up camp or doing that every day, because that gets quite strenuous after a while. So After the first few days, that's will be a bit of a relief, and we'll do a few regions like in that way. The final day, that's where we do Marche, and we then go straight up to near Venice in Veneto. And from here, we'll go across the other regions, and they're camping or staying at friends' places, going through Milan. Here we'll have another base. We'll be camping in and then just doing going back and forth between the regions. And same over here, going down with the final stretch. And we'll have Sardinia as a second last region, because we'll get on a ferry, an overnight ferry, 8 hours, leaving at 6:30 in the morning, leaving at 10:30 in the morning, arriving at 6:30, 10:30 in the evening, arriving at 6:30 in the morning, and run the marathon, and then wait for the same ferry on the way back. And then finally ending with Rome. Obviously, I wanted to end with Rome because it's my home town. So I wanted to keep that last, kind of also in a symbolic way. Although logistically, I've been torn about, and it could change. It could change, but I would like to keep that as last. Now the routes, as I said, we made the routes. They can change, but they look kind of like this. Most of them, they're a point to point. Some are loops, and going through certain cities that I wanted to see or wanted to go through, depending on elevation as well. And every 6 to 10 kilometers, I wanted to put a sort of checkpoint where the team would wait and assist, with anything in terms of fuel, hydration, foods, if anything else was wrong, just checking. And so these are those checkpoints that I put. And obviously we made all the routes on Strava. We will have them on our phones. There are waypoints on Google Maps, because in total we'll have 2 vehicles. We'll have Antonia's car, and we'll have my car here. So it's 2 vehicles moving, and that will allow both for filming opportunities for the documentary, different perspectives, but also, if needed, part of the team can carry on doing certain things, and kind of get a head start if they got to get into camp and set camp or start cooking for the next day, because every day we'll make food for the next day, for lunch, for dinner of the same day. So there's a lot of things that we'll have to do. But all the team, I'll hopefully just rest and recover, but everything, everyone else will have to do. So these are other examples. Some days will look like this, where you have 2,000 meters and it's just a straight line up. Others will be a bit more mellow, where you'll have like not even 50 meters of elevation. So in a way, they're planned that I could get quite some rest in between, but some regions, they're quite hard. And that's not because I thought, oh, let's make it hard. It's just, part of it was because of that. But then I thought I wanted to see certain things as well, right? It's like the whole point of this is like kind of like seeing Italy. And so some regions are also places I wanted to go to, and that's why maybe they're a bit harder, and I'll have to walk uphill going up to Mount Etna, but we'll see about that. Station, I was saying, it's a bit of a mix. We'll camp for a total of 7 nights, I think, 6 nights, and so that's just campgrounds where we'll be cooking with a stove, like just the classic camp grounds. Others will be a bit nicer. The one on the bottom right, this one here, friends of mine Airbnb in Puglia, which I'm super excited to go to because it looks amazing, and there's a swimming pool, and so some places will be sleeping very well, others a bit less, and other places are like little cabins with a kitchen that could help, or just friends places. So I think also I'm very happy about how many people helped out. Some people who I don't really know, like someone from Instagram that I contacted early on in the project, and they've been following through. They agreed on hosting us, 6 people and a dog in Sicily on day 3. And I was like, this is amazing. I mean, so it's like little things like that that made me quite happy when, throughout the project, and little things. And talking about, not little things, but something else was partners. So the one thing I was looking, when I was starting, was like looking through getting partners, getting someone who could support it. And started off from zero. No one wanted to support it, or at least you start sending emails, you start calling people. And as I said earlier, there's a lot of people doing these things, the major brands, that you think of when you think of these things like Red Bull, Monster, energy drink stuff, don't really want to support you. But I'm happy that I actually found quite a lot, as you can see, that support in one way or the other. So going through kind of the list, they Kit Bricks, UK-based brand, they make kit bags, like very sturdy bags that they provide it. So we'll use those to put kits and medical supplies, food, and anything, camera gear, because they're really sturdy. CEP Sports is a German brand who they make compression garments, and they sent over compression socks. I've actually used them in the past before that, like I knew about them. And so that's amazing. Sent over those socks, compression socks, and shorts, and t-shirts as well. So it's also just, when I first was looking at it, I thought, okay, it's just a t-shirt, it's just a sock. But then ultimately it's someone that is believing in what you're doing, and so that really made me happy. There's also someone, Ulysses. They're an Italian brand. They're also based in the US. They make shoes. They sent over these 2 pair of shoes, which I've been trying out, and I really like them as well. So that's what I'll be using to run. Io Vedo di Corsa, that's an Italian blog. They make also clothes, and they'll be sending more stuff as well. Lucos, they were the first one to join, and they make chews, energy chews. So basically, little snacks that you have, just carbohydrates. It's actually great for hiking as well, or any endurance. Really good. I ate quite a lot, to be honest, in the first few months, and now I almost have the a taste, ache. So I have actually stopped to eat them for a while, because otherwise I get nauseous because I ate so many. So, but no, they're great, and they really supported from the beginning. 2CL Communication brand here in the UK, they will give us radios as well. So they'll just send over some radios that we can use between the vehicles. I'll have one as well, and just so, because we won't be together all the time, but when we'll be apart, it won't be quite far. So they give us radios that also work on they work on 4G, and when there's no service, they use other frequencies. So that's really good as well for safety. And then University of Salford also agreed to give me gear in terms of camera gear, microphones, things that we use there as well during our course. Obviously I have some things, but using a more professional video camera will make a difference as well in terms of the quality of the documentary. And finally, we also got a couple of media partners, which struggled with to find at the start. They are both Italian blogs and running blogs that talk about races. And we've started a sort of marketing campaign in terms of we have a short interview that they'll release soon, like a written interview, and then they'll post updates as we go. So also something that I'm quite proud of. When I was initially planning this, I I didn't really have anything in mind in terms of, like, I wasn't going to do this for anything. I thought, okay, I want to do this. But then as I was doing it, I thought, why not also, like, I am lucky enough to be doing this, and there's people that are, they're not in the same position to do it. So I thought, why not support also a charity? And for me, the charity I was wanting to support was Sport Senza Frontiere, which is it's an NGO here in Italy who they basically they work basically to make sports as accessible as possible, and and recognize it as a tool for like education and prevention and inclusion, social inclusion. And I thought, for kids that are in socioeconomical needs. And for me, I mean, I know how important sport is for me, so I wanted to support that cause as well. So every proceed, we made a GoFundMe page, and every proceed will go towards them. So I thought that was very good as well. And in terms of the documentary, this is a quick snapshot of brainstorming, and we put little post-it notes and talking about, as I said, the documentary will be a full-fledged 1-hour documentary talking about not only the 20 days, but also other, a bit of a backstory about myself, but also I wanted to give voice to people like me who are, normal people, and other people who did and do things like these. I know have a few people that I want to interview in terms of a friend of mine who cycled around the world, other people who've done ultras, so make it a story as well about that. And maybe, and most probably, it will actually be 2 separate things, talking about just the 20 days, but also kind of a more general documentary as well. But for now, it's still in script writing and planning phase. This is a quick snapshot of a sort of mood board for the documentary as well. So as you can see, a few interview settings, a few drone, obviously it'll be drone shots, there'll be some graphics with the regions, going from different regions, car shots, camera car, we'll be in the car a lot as well. So on the go interviews. And on the bottom right, that's actually me. So some archive footage. So when I was a kid as well, just spice it up. There's a website, www.projectventi.it, and that's where you can find more info on all the routes, for instance, all the days. There's more for each region. You can click on them and have a bit more info. So if you're interested, you can go through there. You can also, we'll set up the live tracking for when we start. Every day we'll update it with a link. You can kind of see where we are and what we're up to. And obviously we'll update on social media as well. And most importantly, I'm quite happy to have, at the moment, 4 people that will run with me in different cases. So at some point when I was planning this, I had some interest. So some people on social media, but friends also, were asking, what if I want to run with you? And I thought at the beginning, when I started planning this, I didn't really think about that. I was like, who want to do this? So, but anyway, some people were interested. So I set up just a Google form that you could fill in if you're interested. Obviously, it makes sense if you're in Italy or if you're planning to travel to Italy for it. But 4 or 5 people signed up for it, and they'll meet me in one of the regions, or just different regions. So they'll run with me as well, which I thought was pretty interesting. So there's a form as well for that. This was a quick overview. These are the 2 links, Instagram handle and the website. But I'm trying to miss some stuff. So if you have any questions, please fire through, and I'm happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Ale, that was awesome. It's there's so much work and planning that's gone into this. It's actually, I didn't know what to expect just watching this, but I'm excited to see the documentary and what comes out of this at the end.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of moving pieces, and also in the presentation I didn't really include everything, because what you see now is just a a lot of things coming together and a lot of
Yeah.
things changed. And but yeah, you're right.
I Looks like there's a question from Wyatt. Awesome, Ellie. Can't wait to go follow along. Curious, how did you go about? Do you see this chat here? Let me pull it up here.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, gotcha. How do
Cool.
you get along getting the brand partners? Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
question actually. It was that was the part I was most nervous about.
Oh, Allie, you still there?
I started jotting down all of the brands I could think of, starting from the most famous ones and then making my way down. And I started calling people. I started, emailing people, and I set up reminders. I would do that. I did that for I think a couple months. I would just send a bunch of emails, phone people, and I made a few presentations for it as well. So sometimes it led to nothing, and that was one of the most time consuming bits, just because it's really hard to have people, even send, for a brand to send you something, and the first time they sent me something, I was over the moon.
So you might have cut out, or maybe it was me. I'm not sure the very first part, but like just the very first part of the answer, how you went about getting sponsors, Ellie. I think it may have dropped off a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I think the connection was dropping out. Yeah, I was saying I just started off setting a spreadsheet, and I firstly I went through writing down the most, the brands that I thought of, that I wanted to have like as partners, even like the most ridiculous, like, famous ones. I was like, okay, no chance. And then kind of going down, thinking about, doing some research, kind of like thinking, okay, what do I need? Do I need like radios? Okay, so then maybe I need to ask these guys, or thinking about strategic what I kind of needed, or even just to get some more appeal in a way. And like once you have a few brands, it gets easier to get more brands, because more brands see that you have more, so it's like kind of like a domino effect in a way. And I thought even like the whole process, I think, taught me a lot. Like I think it was fun doing it, and like now that I've done it, you know just briefly, and like if I were to do it again, I think I would definitely do something differently. But overall it would it really helped in making it all possible. Cool. Were there other questions?
There's another question from Michelle. She asked, "Can we donate on the website?"
Yeah, I think there's a page. I think it's on. I don't know if it's donation or yeah, but there's a link there. I think, yeah, crowdfunding. So you just click there, and it's a GoFundMe page, and then once the project is done, that's where we'll get all the funds and donate to Sports Senza Frontiere, the NGO. Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Really appreciate it. Still need to go to Alabama.
Cool. Any more questions? Andrew, Beth, comments? Emily? So
That was really amazing. That was
Thanks,
really
Beth.
cool. It's nice to
Thank
see it all come together and like have it all in one place. It's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. What happens in the event that something happens on the way? Like have you guys talked about this doomsday scenario, or like what happens if
Yeah.
logistics break down, or your body breaks down, or how do you plan on managing that aspect of it?
Yeah, so in terms of logistic breaking down, I think the cars, I mean, having two cars, I think that solves some issues. But no, yeah, the most likely thing that could happen is me breaking down, both physically and mentally. But so what I would like to do is still completing it. So if that means walking and like going very slowly, that's what will happen. Like if I can't run as fast or hike as fast, whatever, like I will run it. And Alyssa will be there, Antonio will be there, you know, checking if things do get serious in terms of like there's, you know, if I really need medical attention, then that's why we'll stop it if it's something that's dangerous. But in terms of like getting hurt or getting, you know, tight legs, or I'll just walk if it's something I can't do faster, if that's the fastest thing I can do. But so that's the idea. I think I do want to complete as well in that, you know, 24-hour frame.
Right.
That's manageable.
So it goes from like a run to like a multi-day through hike of Italy type thing.
Yeah, if it comes to it, yes. That's the idea. And I thought, okay, I mean, how beat up, like I really need to be very beat up to not be able to walk at all. So
Right.
hopefully that doesn't happen.
Right. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
How long have you been training for this?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that's the fun thing. Like myself, like yes, I have a background in endurance sports. Yes, I have a background in, I'm quite strong as well. I've had a pause. I had two-year break from it, and I lately, it's been like 8-9 months now that I've been like training. But I actually like my first marathon, I'll run that on Sunday. So even from that side, it's crazy to think that I'll be doing this because I myself am not like a runner, or I'm not an experienced runner, and that could feel a bit rushed. But that was also part of like why I wanted to do it. I wanted to see if it's something I, you know, if it's something I could do anyway. But yes, from the training aspect, that's all I had from the past few months, like 8-9 months. Obviously before that I was into endurance sports, but you know, I've had quite a big of a break from it as well.
There's another question, Ali, from Wyatt. In an ideal scenario, whether logistics, etc., do you have a pace or time goals for each marathon, or just to finish?
Yeah. So the time. So as you saw from the routes, it's it varies a lot with elevation. So I'm expecting from a flat course, from the flatter courses, to be around 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours tops, which is a long time for a marathon, right? But that's not, you know, the speed is not a goal, is not the goal here. But so that's why I would like to keep constant, like 5 hours maybe, depending on how I feel. When there's like that much more of elevation, that's when it's going to be impossible for me to run a 5-hour marathon with 10,000 feet of elevation, right? So so
is that how much it is on Mount Etna? Is it 10,000 feet?
Yeah, well, it's 3. Yeah, it's maybe 9,000 feet, but yeah.
Wow.
But
and which day is that? That's early on, I think, right?
Day 3. Yeah.
Day 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
But yeah, so that's ideally, like in terms of like times, that's what we'll aim for. And I do expect like, you know, the first few days will be harder, but then I do expect to kind of get used to it in a way and get in a rhythm. Although you know, even if I'm not that primed physically, and I think doing that kind of, you know, every day after the first few days will put me in a rhythm to you know, be able to do that.
Another question that was from Emily here is, what's the time scale for finishing the documentary, and where are you planning on putting it once it's finished?
Oh, good question. Yeah, the time scale, I wanted to finish it for December of 2024, so this year. And I wanted to do one. I think it will end up being 2 documentaries, probably. But so December 2024, and I wanted to have a few festivals in mind, both in the UK, but I was looking into Italy, of course, outdoor festivals and sports festivals. There's a few in the south as well, and kind of like doing that whole, like as soon as those 20 days, that's just the start. We'll have to obviously edit the documentary, and then after that as well, like the promotion of it, and like sending it to festivals. That's a big job to be doing, and that will be in the new year 2025, with the new festivals, that kind of like time frame into 2025. Thanks, Michelle. Yes, when I have the documentary, I'll send it over. And yeah, thank you very much.
I can't wait to see what you. I remember when you did the TSX, like this little short film.
Yeah.
You put it together in like 3 days. I think on your flight back home, you put it together. I can't wait to see what you come up with when you have like 8 months, or 6 or 8 months to put it together and finish like a project.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting because like you're gonna have your perspective. You probably won't see all the footage because there'll be other footage. I'm guessing, when you're running, that they'll be filming other stuff as well, right? Like.
Yeah, exactly. The idea is that everyone, there'll be a lot of footage of like the team and them talking and like discussing stuff as well. And then obviously there'll be me running, but ultimately I'm gonna do the same thing every day. Like it's kind of, like they, as I said, like there are certain characters as well. I think that from a documentary point of view as well, like Yoris and Lorenzo, they make a really funny couple. I think there's also potential to making it a bit funny or like a bit different than like just a documentary about the 20 running 20 marathons, doing a bit differently. And we're thinking about doing, as I said, like playing with analog stuff as well, both pictures and stills and videos. So like setting up some rigs to use like the old handy cams or stuff like that. So I think I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, you'll have to throw a camera in Alyssa or Antonia's hand to capture the banter of the two guys back and forth a little bit then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, the biggest challenge, Beth. Oh, I mean, I think the biggest challenge, we'll definitely be starting with like the initial shock doing it the first few days and realizing like the mental, I've got to do this like for another 2 weeks, another 2.5 weeks or something like that, after the first 2 or 3 days. I think just like going through that first mental, obstacle of having to push for more, like that would probably be the biggest challenge. And yeah, hopefully. I think, if there are no more questions.
I think it's awesome. I mean, I just want to say thank you, Ali, for sharing your story. Like, I'm completely blown away by everything that you do and everything you've done and everything that you're going to be doing in the future. I know this is just kind of the start, and you're just like building momentum right now. So thank you so much for just sharing it with us. I'm super grateful to have you part of like TSX, and you're going to be coming out to lead a couple trips this summer again. And you are always welcome out here for as many summers as you want, or falls and springs, whatever works for you. Just very grateful to have you part of the team and the community as well. And good luck. Good luck with everything. We'll be following you from afar.
Yeah.
And cheering you on, man. So
yeah, thank you. You'll definitely hear from me.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna stop this record here.